Welcome back to Occasional Randomness. I'm your host, Eric Scott, and joining me, as always, my fellow co-host, someone who loves a good math equation, Jason Johnson.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to get this episode going because I'm running out of both Sharpies and room on my arm to write because these notes are just getting out of hand.
Now you have to go to your feet and legs, and you run out of room.
Yeah, transcribing these later is gonna be a pain. I can tell you that.
Yep, you gotta get in the right order, and you don't know if it's up or down. But more on that later.
We'll get there.
So this is the big 2-0, our 20th episode.
Oh, I'd have brought a cake.
Yeah, right. Happy birthday! No, but we did kind of call an audible midway through the week, and it'll just be another single episode review this time. But next time, we promise that we will get into some more things. It's the final season of Star Wars: The Bad Batch premiered a couple days ago. Season 3 of that.
Yeah, you may hear a faint echo of promises we didn't keep, but
Hey!
it's worth it.
Yeah. And speaking of threes in Season 3 of Farscape is almost over. And this time around,
Oh,
I know, but we still got more to go. And this time around, the penultimate episode of the season, episode 21, Into the Lion's Den, Part 2, Wolf in Sheep's Clothing. And as always, our public service announcement, if you like what we do here, please give us a like or review wherever you listen to this at, or help spread the word on social media, and let other people know about this fine podcast. We would appreciate it. All right, so let's jump on into it. As we said before, the penultimate episode of Season 3, Episode 21, Into the Lion's Den Part 2, Wolf in Sheep's Clothing. And as you probably expect from a Part 2, it picks up right where Part 1 left off, which is kind
no.
of good because otherwise it'd be kind of weird and you wouldn't know what's going on. And we pick up just after Scorpius threatens to go to Earth and destroy it. He tells Crichton that he doesn't really care about Earth or his species, only that they matter to Crichton. He says that he's out of time. The Commandant, Crais, may return at any time, and he must give her results or she will scrap his research and the Scarens will take over half the galaxy. So, no pressure or anything. John just tells Scorpius that he's screwed, but Scorpius reminds him that if he is screwed, then things around here will get very, very ugly. Later, John, Aaron, and Crais are in the officers' lounge, and Aaron says that they've already succeeded as Crais is due back soon with the authorization to shut down the wormhole project. But John says that's not good enough. Scorpius will not just sit back and let his baby die. In the restorative chamber, Jewel, Dargo, and Rigel and Chiana agree that they won't stay any longer. They'll leave. But the others enter, and John tells them that Crais' arrival changes everything. He says that he's run out of time to destroy the research from the inside, so that means there's only one option left: destroy the command carrier. John tells them that all of Scorpius' data is on the ship, and basically this ship is the Peacekeeper wormhole project. Rigel says that's nice, but this ship's over a metro long, prompting Chiana to ask if that can even be done. John says he doesn't really care how, but Aaron reminds him that there are over 50,000 men, women, and children on board. But John says that they'll just have to find a way to get them off. Dargo objects, although John reminds him that this is what they came here to do. He asks Crais if he knows if there's a way to do this, and Crais replies he'll need to see the specs on the modifications to the carrier since he left. John says yes, they can do this, and they have to try anyway. Rigel says that he's seen how powerful the wormhole weapons are and what horrible destruction they can cause. No one should wield such power. So, Rigel, voice of reason.
Who'd have thought?
Right. Back in John's head, John and Harvey are talking, and John asks if Scorpius really would attack Earth. Harvey says that he wouldn't put it past Scorpius to travel for 60 cycles to destroy an insignificant planet simply for revenge, and then asks if he's gained the ability to return home, would he really destroy that information? Strappa, back in the real world, snaps John out of it, and John is absentmindedly writing wormhole equations all over his hands, which is unlocking more and more secrets. As Strappa leaves to enter in the new data, John realizes that he is accessing the wormhole knowledge through his subconscious, and he could succeed in controlling them if he wants. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Laurel tells Crais that he must get aboard Talyn, but Crais replies that Talyn is dead unless he has something to trade. We cut to Braca entering Scorpius' command room, bringing the aforementioned Crais under armed escort. Crais says he has a demand, prompting Scorpius to send him away. Like, nope, not go away. As he's being dragged out, Crais says that he demands he suffers no repercussions for his actions during his exile, that the Leviathan hybrid be resurrected, and he would be the leader of that project alongside Lieutenant Laurel.
Oh.
Yeah. Scorpius stops her from being kicked out of the room, assuming Crais has something comparable to offer. And Crais responds that he has more than that. Scorpius says that once Commandant Graza returns, any agreement they make may not be honored, But Crais says that an executive order signed now, no matter what happens to Scorpius later, will stand. Scorpius accepts his terms and has Crais released. Crais tells Scorpius that John has no intention of helping him. He is conspiring with some of Moya's crew to destroy the carrier. Double-crossing traitor?
Yeah, really?
Or not.
Surprise?
Right, yeah.
Mm.
Meanwhile, Erin enters the Peacekeeper training ground, finding an injured girl. She takes a look and cleans up her little wound on her hand, but Hinta comes along and hits the wound, saying to let it bleed and scar, as she'll want it later, and sends her away. She tells Erin not to make her soft, but Erin says that there is so much she doesn't know. Crais comes along and tells Erin that there's a problem and to follow him. Meanwhile, Dargo, Rigel, Chiana, and Jewel have secured their information on the carrier for John, but get stopped by security. Back in the research lab, John is still working, as Travis says that the equations are flowing from him. Scorpius enters and says that it seems John's subconscious has blossomed despite himself. And then he tells John that the plot against his ship has failed, his friends are in custody. Crais is brought in, and John leaps on him, assuming, I guess, that that's why it's failed. John's restrained, but screams that Crais is dead. Scorpius says that if Crais insists his friends stay imprisoned, then so be it. John tries to plead with him and says it was all him, and demands his friends to be freed, or he won't help any further. But Scorpius tells him that he's in no position to make any more demands, cooperate, or he'll kill everybody.
Saw that one coming.
Yeah, surprise. And we cut to Dargo, Rigel, Jewel, and Chiana in a cell, where Douglas says he was a prisoner here for 8 cycles before. Rigel says that the last time he was here, it took him 130 cycles to escape from the Peacekeepers. He was lucky. Outside of the jail there, John goes to the generator room to meet with Aaron, but Crais is there too. John's about ready to tear him apart, but Aaron holds him back, telling him that he needs to listen. Crais says that the ship can't be destroyed by throwing switches. He needs the distraction so that Scorpius would believe that the plot had failed. He kept Aaron safe because he needs her to help with him. He says everything he's ever cared for is gone. His parents were taken away, his brother's dead, so now he does and lives only for his own interests. However, despite that, he understands the power of this technology and the horror that will come over the galaxy if anybody wields it. But he also knows that he's the only person capable of stopping it. John goes to leave, but Aaron says that they're all on the same page here. They all want the ship destroyed. And Crais tells John that the only way to do that is with Talyn. Aaron says that Crais proposes that he and Talyn starburst while still inside the command carrier's hangar, and doing that in an enclosed space will cause a massive explosion, causing the hangar to collapse upon itself. And then it will take at least another half of an Arn for the rest of the whole carrier to fully implode, giving the crew time to escape. John asks Aaron to tell him that she believes Crais, so she asks if he has another way to destroy the ship, and Crichton admits, no, not really, he hasn't. And then he asks Crais where they meet with him and Talyn. Crais tells him that nope, they won't. Starburst in a confined space will destroy Talyn as well as himself, but he notes that it will be the hero's death the young Leviathan deserves. However, he tells Crichton that he will need a significant distraction to occupy Scorpius' time and attention, and John says he'll get him one. On that note, John returns to the experiment room and tells Strappa that they're going on a trip to get his module. Meanwhile, Lavrella meets Crais in the corridor and asks what's happening. She tells him that she knows something's wrong, and if she suspects he's conspiring against Scorpius, she must report it. Crais says that, yep, she must, and tells her not to be disloyal to Scorpius in any way. And in front of everybody in the hallway, he hits her, knocking her to the floor, and tells her to tell Scorpius it won't work. Next time he sends a spy, send someone he actually cares about. Ooh, burn. On Moya, Strappa tells John to hurry, and in Pilot's den, John has told Pilot and Moya what Crais is planning. Pilot tells John that Moya understands. At least the violent death Talyn was destined for this way will be a more noble one. Pilot asks if he'll see John again, and John tells him to be ready to starburst away if he doesn't see him or them, and to give Moya his love. Pilot forwards her love to him as well as his own. Oh.
Oh.
Back on the command carrier, Aaron is walking around the quarters with a rope as John is preparing his module for flight. Scorpius asks why he got the module, and John says that he has a theory as to why his primitive little ship with no shields has survived wormholes. Scorpius calls for the first pilot who is ready to fly it, but Crichton says no, they may screw things up. He admits that he could die on this trip, but that the Commandant will execute them on their return anyway. He challenges Scorpius, who will die anyway due to the bracelet if anything goes wrong with John, and Scorpius accompanies him to finally experience wormholes up close. And we
It's
cut
a
to...
buddy comedy.
Yeah. It's a buddy cop show. Wait, no. And we cut to John and Scorpius in the module, entering a nearby wormhole. Scorpius tells John that the experience is without description. They approach a zone of instability inside the wormhole, as the entire command carrier is listening to them over their comms, distracted. Hey, there we go. Crais tries to get aboard Talyn, but is stopped by an officer and says Scorpius' orders are that if Crais tried to board Talyn again, he will shoot to kill. Streba announces that all their readings are in the danger zone, while Crais throws a small grenade to distract the peacekeepers guarding Talyn. And Aaron swings down from the ceiling, and they take the peacekeepers out. John tells Scorpius that flying wormholes takes finesse and manages to stabilize the ship. Scorpius says he's never felt this connected, and Strappa tells them that they should return to the carrier anyway. Crais bores Talyn and tells him not to be afraid. He says that his weapons were all confiscated by the peacekeepers, and Moya will be enslaved unless they do something radical together. John and Scorpius return to the ship when Crais' voice booms over the shipwide comm. He tells Scorpius he's making his final goodbyes, that he's standing in Scorpius' heart, about to squeeze hard. Scorpius is furious and tells Brackett to locate and stop him immediately. Crais tells Scorpius that he is the most repellent of creatures. He wasn't born into the Peacekeepers or conscripted against his will and taken from his home, but actively chose to be one. Scorpius orders to scramble all prowlers, but Brackett tells him they're not planning to escape. Crais says that the last time he left his ship, Scorpius forced him out and stole his life from him. This time he's not leaving quietly. Scorpius again calls to get the traitor off the ship, but as the carrier starts to shake, John tells him to hang on to something. Scorpius is shocked at realizing that Crichton and Crais were working together all along. At Crais' order, Talyn starbursts and is destroyed in a massive explosion, sending energy rippling through the carrier. And as you might expect, people in a panic are running through the corridor screaming, as Dargo says to the others, he's done it, it's going down. Escape pods, prowlers, marauders, everything starts fleeing the doomed carrier. Dargo and the others shout to be released as their cell begins to fall apart. Aaron clears the training ground as Scorpius leaves the experiment room. The next room he enters becomes flooded with water, but Scorpius continues to walk through it, only stopping for a moment to watch his ship fall. John tries to get an outraged Strappa to leave, saying that the wormhole technology would not be a scientific achievement as he sees it, but a weapon with the potential to kill millions, and he can't let the peacekeepers have it. Strappa lets John know that he too holds significant information about the wormholes, and Scorpius will find him and force him to tell him what he knows. So they go to the Aurora chair, flashback to that, to wipe his memories, where John tells him that he's been very brave. Aaron arrives at the cell, where it collapses the bars inward, allowing everybody to escape. Scorpius returns to his command room and calms the ship to begin Priority 1 escape procedures. Yeah, they're already way ahead of you, dude. And tells Rocket to go with him. Aaron calms John to tell him the others are okay, and John says don't wait, he's going to his module, and they'll meet back on Moya. John finishes erasing the knowledge from Strappa's mind, as Dargo calls Pilot to patch him through to his ship. He voice activates it for rescue retrieval. As Aaron's trying to leave, she's met by Henta in a corridor, where Henta blames Aaron for costing some people their lives. Aaron replies that she knows she's saving millions, but Henta says she can't save herself, and points a gun at her. Just then, an explosion hits her, and Aaron is forced to watch her former friend die a painful death. Pilot tells Dargo they must escape before the implosion or Moya will be destroyed. John reaches his module, but is met there by Scorpius. John says it looks like their partnership is over. No kidding. Scorpius says that John's name will be remembered by millions, as because of him, the Scarans will soon destroy them all. John replies that one evil at a time is the best he can do. John asks if he'll still go after Earth, but Scorpius replies that the only vengeance he ever cared about is now no longer within his grasp. They tell each other the codes to remove their eye-inch bracelets. John says we were close, and throws the bracelet down. He says that if they're going to get off this boat, now would be a very good time. Scorpius tells him that he may not be getting off, and sadly says goodbye, and starts walking away. John calls her after him, but he leaves. Aaron calms that the others are away, and she's leaving in a prowler now. John tells her to fly safe. And finally, back on Moya, Dargo says that he knew they'd ultimately leave each other, but didn't know it'd be this long. And Roger replies that he won't miss anybody. And then adds, well, maybe a little. Janet tells Dargo that she'll probably try to find the Nabari resistance. Jules with Pilot, who asks whether or not she'll be leaving if they find her people. She starts to cry and says that from what she can tell, she won't be the only other one leaving Moya soon, which saddens Pilot. And on command, John is seated, still writing equations on his body, next to a sad and silent Aaron, as they think about Crais and Talyn's sacrifice. The end. Some trivia about this episode. The scene where Scorpius walks up the stairs as the lake flows down the steps had to be done in one take, and many of the production personnel came to watch. Wayne Pygram revealed that just before the water cascaded down those steps, he realized that his boot tread was very thin than he would have preferred. Well, either way, you're getting wet, dude, so I don't know. But Many of the sets built for Talyn were redressed for this episode, giving the command carrier a grand scale that would have been unaffordable otherwise. I guess just for fun, Claudia Black and the crew placed bets on which direction the statue in the park would fall when it went down. Rowan Woods, the director, considered the episode to be an homage to the war films of the 50s and 60s, including Tora, 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 and the Battle of Britain. I guess the panic scene of people running around. I don't know. And Aaron acquires a new prowler in this episode, replacing the one that was destroyed way back in Die Me Dichotomy, which was what the season finale of season 2, right?
Have we only been one season without a Prowler? Seems like longer, but I guess not. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. It's been 21 episodes ago, I guess. Yeah, at this point. So it just seems like forever, but that's TV shows back in those days.
Yeah, which is, side note, that's kind of funny because we were talking about how many episodes some other shows have now, and it's like 10? Oh, okay.
Yeah, 10's the outside. Like that's a lot. 10. Yeah. Now back in the day it was like 26, 22.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was the big exciting conclusion to our two-parter here. So what do you think, Jason? Did they once again bring home a multi-part story? I can pretty much know what you're going to say, but go ahead.
Yeah, well, slightly predictable, but I'll say, yeah, they definitely lived up to it. But I got to be honest, I feel like this was one of the more somber episodes we've dealt with in a while. I mean, at least that's my take at this point. Maybe, I'm not remembering the others as clearly because, like we said, we've been through a lot of episodes. But man, that ending, that was some of the most down stuff we've had. Somber, thoughtful stuff we've had at the end of an episode in a long time. So I know we've got one more to go before the end of the season, so it wasn't like the cliffhanger, but it almost could have been.
Yeah, so I was trying to think back to the other two-parters and like, well, the one three-parter, the Look at the Princess. I mean, that was kind of an upbeat. I mean, it had still depressing points here and there, but and it was more like familicide, like with the brother and sister at each other's throats and killing each other and stuff, versus here where it's like the crew taking a loss. But that was like more happy and upbeat with like weddings and people are happy and whatever. And yeah, this one, yeah, it's a little dark and depressing, but then again, that's also Farscape, so
Yeah, we just usually don't come out of these multi-parters with the resolution being such a downer, I guess. Maybe Aaron's death previously would be the last one I'm trying to think of, but I don't remember if that was a multi-parter. But
yeah, it was more like a cliffhanger, like which we might,
yeah.
yeah. So yeah, it was an important but dark, I guess, two-parter, yeah. So, all right, so let's kind of go through some stuff here. So yeah, I guess their first three plans aren't going to work that they talked about last episode, like sabotage the research, send it the wrong way, or just run away and let them finish. So John's got a cunning fourth plan, just blow everything up. Oh, and by the way, don't kill all 50,000 people on the ship, because there's kids and stuff. So yeah, no problem, easy peasy.
Right. I mean, it's the last part that makes it tricky. I mean, I'm sure there's tons of ways to destroy a ship, or now what makes it difficult is getting yourself out of there. That's hard enough, right? Pulling something like that off and escaping, but to do it with that many men, women, and kids aboard, as you said, that's a lot of people to get off a ship.
Yeah, because before that, they like the whole bank heist where they were, robbing that shadow repository, and yeah, all they worry about was just getting in, stealing, and getting out themselves. Anything else that happened, who cares? But and they probably would have cared if 50,000 peacekeepers died necessarily, but there's kids that had nothing to do with anything on there. So you can't, you have to have some morals and sympathy and whatever.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I didn't realize until that they said that the peacekeepers were taking the enterprise approach to bringing families with you, right? I mean, 50,000 people, including kids, means obviously they've got some kind of family or whatever passes for that amongst the peacekeepers. So
Yeah, because you would think that they would just, and I'm sure they do elsewhere. It's just on planets they have training places and where they live and all kind of stuff. But to have this giant metro, or in this case mile long ship, yeah, I mean I guess it's like their training center plus the carrier, all that stuff, and however many command carriers they have like that too. So yeah, it's like, and who's going to really attack a command carrier, right? You have to be crazy to suicide to attack something like this big. So it's probably a safe place to do this kind of thing.
yeah, sure, nothing could happen.
Yeah, except when a suicidal maniac blows up a Leviathan inside your ship, then but yeah, what's the odds of that happening, right? Yeah. And we see John's unlocking more and more of the wormhole knowledge buried in his subconscious, or at least this John. He didn't have it gifted to him like the other John. And it's kind of funny that he's writing it on his hands and arms. I thought it was kind of funny. Why not just use paper or write it down on a computer or something? But I mean, I guess I can kind of headcanon it away, I guess, by saying otherwise. If he lost that paper, then maybe he won't remember the equations again to write them down. I don't know.
Well, it gives you a way to keep it on you at all times, right? I mean, you got to keep it within hand's reach.
So is he like ambidextrous? Like when he runs out of like room on his left arm and hand, could he like put the pen in his left hand and write on his right hand? Like,
He seemed to be. I mean, he had writing on both arms, so
yeah. So maybe your subconscious lets you write on both arms without, because they're all just weird symbols anyway. It's not like it's like our kind of math equations. It's weird symbols and letters, right? So, I guess either hand can write that kind of stuff. I don't know. And we had a nice fake out, which we talked about earlier, where Crais tells Scorpius their cunning plan to blow up the carrier. And I mean, I was kind of going back and forth. I was pretty sure he wasn't selling them out, and it was somehow part of the plan. But then in the back of your head, you're like, maybe it's not, because remember, this is Crais we're talking about. So maybe being back on his former ship with his former colleagues and lovers, or lover, or whatever, maybe that got to him, and he wanted to get back in their good graces, and so he turned him in. I don't know.
yeah, it's the side of my distrust of Crais that I fell for it, right? I mean, especially when I was looking for the title, right? We kind of go into these looking at playing the game of where's the title fit in and all that kind of stuff. And wolf in sheep's clothing, I was thinking, oh, we're going to have a betrayal from Crais, and he was looking for an opportunity all along, or how does he get out of here and have Talyn and get his life back? I mean, there's all kind of things he could have been trying to figure out there, but no, he turned out that was legit. So I was wrong.
Yeah, but no, that does fit with the title. That was good. I didn't pick up on that. Yeah, but good point. And then we get, got to go back to our on location shooting here. We've got the nice scene in the planetary training room with Aaron, that little girl, and later Henta. So you can really see how far Aaron's come with becoming a more of a well-rounded, sympathetic person, breaking away from that peacekeeper mentality and upbringing, and we don't call it brainwashing or whatever you want to call it, but that mentality of strength, don't show any weakness, and get the job done. So that it's kind of made her a better, stronger overall person than if she stayed being a peacekeeper. So that was nice.
And I'm sure that Henta will come around by the end of the episode and see the error of her ways and not die a fiery death of any kind at all. Sure.
Yeah, she'll take a prowler, she'll come on board Moya, they'll have another peacekeeper on board,
Well, they've got to replace one, so
yeah,
they're one down.
yeah. So yeah, now we're just losing cast members now. You got Stark off the credits. Well, he's still in the credits, but he's not in the show anymore. No, but I guess next time we'll have everybody in the credits still, even though they won't be half of them on the show. But,
That's a good way to get a check.
yeah, get paid for the whole season, be there once. Yeah. And going further along with that theme of is he a double-crossing traitor or not, we have Scorpius telling John his plans failed, and look, here's the guy right here. And John jumps after Crais, pretty convincingly, because I think at that point he didn't really know what was going on.
Well,
So
it's the whole curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal
yeah,
thing,
right.
right?
Yeah. So that further sells the plan. So Scorpius believes what's going on, and we didn't really know it, until like for sure the next scene in the generator room where Crais explains the whole plan. It's like, yeah, it's a nice plan, John, but I just can't flip the self-destruct switch. So, but that was good. That John was had legitimate reactions to that, so it wasn't staged or fake. So probably that wouldn't leave Scorpius with any doubts what's going on. Plus Scorpius can tell lies and that kind of stuff. Although Harvey's shielding John from that, but maybe from the other people, if they would have known that that John was in on it, he might have picked up on it. And what's Crais' cunning plan? Blow Talyn, well, actually, Starburst Talyn inside the command carrier, blowing them up and the carrier slowly to implode, which is nice, as opposed to it blowing up immediately, because then everybody would be dead and that'd be in the show. So, and I do vaguely remember that Talyn was destroyed at some point. It wasn't in season 4, since I'd seen this before. I just can't remember half of it. I just didn't remember that Crais died as well, so it was kind of ooh.
Yeah, and not knowing that, I was figuring that, yeah, I knew they'd have to kind of do something with them. I couldn't see them sticking around for another season like the way they were. But I was kind of figuring that Talyn and Crais would escape together and we'd catch up them when they were, or not, depending. But they were out there. They could always come back, which I guess technically they could, because there's always a chance the Starburst actually took them somewhere, right? But probably not.
Yeah, I mean it's sci-fi, so you can tech your way out of anything, all right? So
See, if that had been today, you'd have a spin-off show where it's the adventures of Talyn and Crais out there doing something crazy in the unknown charted regions. So
Like maybe as a starburst, they somehow got into like a time warp and got sucked out of time. And oh wait, that's Loki. Never mind. It's different.
oh, but you could do a quantum leap.
Yeah, he could like go
They
back.
jump into other Leviathans along the way.
Yeah, there we go. Quantum Farscape.
Far leap,
Yeah,
far.
Leapscape. No, it doesn't make sense. Quantumscape. There we go. Yeah, so then Crais needs this big distraction. So John's got just the thing. So he goes to Moya, gets his module, and cons Scorpion into going on a trip. But before that, though, we get a kind of a really nice, touching scene with Crichton telling Pilot and Moya what's going on, and Moya surprisingly understands and is not as upset as you might think. So that was nice. And then they have I love you, and so just
And it's one of the better pilot scenes. I've been kind of feeling like Pilot's been getting the short shift lately. There's not been a whole lot going on between him and Moya and the crew, and it's been kind of a little more conflict there than you've seen in past between the pilot. Right, Pilot's usually the more easygoing one, and there seems to be a lot more drama and less. So this scene really, was touching between the two of them, and Moya sends her love too, and all that kind of stuff, and that just makes when we get to the very end even worse, right? Because then it kind of feels darker because you just had that light. So
yeah. And plus, I guess with that, what they're going to do to Talon, they're going to basically wipe his personality anyway and put like a new one in effectively. So, I mean, I guess in Moya's mind, she's going to grieve either way. So I guess this is a better way to go than the other way. I don't know. But,
yeah, she was probably already grieving it, anyway for that
mhm.
process.
And then yeah, we get the another cool scene with John and Scorpio going through the wormhole, and Scorpio's reaction to just being there. He's just like, this is I can't describe this. This is amazing. And I guess John's theory about his little pod surviving wormholes seems good because they don't liquefy. So bonus. So,
Yeah, that would be another quick way to end it.
yeah. Oh well. Oops. Although I'm kind of wondering, maybe like the little extra drama that they had inside the wormhole, where they were got caught in that distortion or whatever, and they're kind of getting jostled around, and everyone is like riveted to the comms on the command carrier because they're listening in to the whole thing. So I wonder if that was part of the distraction to get everybody, oh, what's going to happen? So everybody's glued to the monitors and the comm system because they're all been dying to know and see more about wormholes since that's what they've been doing for how many years now, and it's right there. It's like, oh no, what's going to happen? So good distraction if that was what they tried to do.
That was my read. He made sure to have the disturbance to keep the crew listening. Because they knew they were all going to be paying attention, like you said. So it kept their attention fixated on them. I mean, there's nothing like dramatic scenes like that to, take an audience and draw them into, like, say, an episodic series or something.
Yep, reel him in. Yep, keep him. Which gives Crais time to get on to Talyn. And then as they arrive back at the ship, Crais gets to give his final soliloquy, telling Scorpius off. He stole his life, and now he's going to return the favor. And then you see, like, Scorpius realizing too late, oh, crap. And then Talon starbursts, and they're gone. And then soon, everybody else will be too.
Yeah, that was pretty much like the nail, right? Because once that starburst hit, everything was irreversible. So that was kind of an interesting way to do it, where it's like no matter what, Scorpius doesn't have an out.
Yeah, because whoever got left behind when it blew up, like, I don't know, some kind of gravitational thing or something that, but caused the carrier to start imploding on itself. So it's like, yeah, at that point, it's like, oh well, we're done. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
usually it's scrambling to try to stop it or something. It's like, no, that okay, good move, you win. Like that, we just got to deal with it now.
yeah, you can't like eject part of the ship because that's probably like the heart of the ship and whatever. So it's like, yeah, there's no way. It's like everybody knows we're done. It's over. And then yeah, we get those great hectic scenes of just people running everywhere trying to get off the carrier. You got escape pods, you got prowlers and other ships as they cut to space, like just fleeing as fast as they can. Even before they got the emergency evac. It's like yeah, we're out of here.
Yeah,
And also we get that amazing. I was just riveted. The amazing scene of that water. I guess probably from that lake in the planetary room gushing into the room that Scorpio's in, like down the stairs, and he's just standing there and trying to walk up the stairs when it's coming down. I mean, that was amazing. I mean, and it's all practical stuff. I mean, I was thinking, you know, this has to be only one take because how are you going to get thousands of gallons of water reset to do this? And they did it all in one take. I mean, that was amazing. It was well done.
True. Like you say, we've become so inured with digital effects, right? I almost didn't even think about it being practical. We just think, oh, big movie scene, even our TV show, episodes now. I mean, crazy space and scenes like this, and it would be nothing for them to do this with the computer effects. But in this day, that was a major, like you say, one and done. Here's your shot, practical effects scene, and that's amazing. I actually expected Scorpius almost to just take a seat and that'd be the way he went out, going down with the ship. I didn't. I almost would have not been surprised if that was where the last we saw of him, but obviously not, as we'll get to.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of like the whole logistics of that scene. It's like, okay, we got this giant water tank behind here, and okay, Wayne, you're gonna you only got one shot at this, so it's gonna come flooding down them stairs. Don't fall down. Wait for you, don't fall down.
Or if you do fall down with authority or something.
Yeah, fall like Scorpius would fall down on his butt. Yeah, that's sneer and fall down. Yeah. And then we get the Strappa realizing that now that things are falling apart, or the fact that this is all over now, maybe this is his big chance to get away from Scorpius. And by the way, I got all this stuff in my head, and I guess somehow either John or him or whoever figures out, well, there's a Aurora chair nearby, so hey, let me just go wipe your memories real quick, and you can go about your business. Which that's shout out to the Aurora chair way back. Ooh, how long ago was that? Was that season one? I think it was season one. I think.
Yeah, because it was Crais who put him in it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when we first meet Scorpius, then later too. But they only have like less than half an hour, and they said before the carrier implodes, which I'm guessing it's imploding not all at once, but in pieces. So, like, how long would it take to wipe out their memory? But yeah, okay, I'll allow it. It's cool.
I really thought that Strappa was going to choose to die on the ship, right? I mean, when he says, "Oh, there's one other, and we know what has to be done," it was like, no, he's done. He's just that's going to be the death of him. And it's like, no. Hey, remember that chair? That's definitely a better way to go than sacrificial death. So
yeah, because probably he doesn't have the resources or money to or the wherewithal to disappear or to escape like Moya's crew has. So if he goes back to wherever, they're gonna find him, grab him, and it's like, aren't you the guy that knows all about this wormhole stuff? So yeah.
Yeah, I don't think him running away with John in the module was going to work. So yeah.
Yeah. Although hey, he can go on Moya and they can work on wormholes together nicely, but yeah, probably not. And then Erin has her final run-in with Henta, who still just doesn't get it. And before she can shoot Aaron, she gets nice and crispy from a fireball and dies horribly, which was great makeup. I mean, it's wonderful effects, although I don't know we really needed that close-up of her, though.
Yeah, that little too close. It made me curious about the girl, though. I'm guessing she's with all the other kids and not. I guess I thought maybe that was Henta's daughter. Maybe, I don't know. I read too much into that one, and then the more I think about it, maybe I just kind of I was like, oh no, what are they gonna do with that girl now that she's a fireball, So.
Yeah. Yeah, 'cause they don't really tell you about how many people did get off, how many didn't, which I guess how would you know? I mean, but so
Obviously some didn't. So
yeah, because Henta's all annoyed about that. But yeah, but I guess you have to be hopeful that all the kids got off. So because that was the whole point of this. And then we get our little final question mark scene with Scorpius and John, where they run into each other at the hangar, and Scorpius seems rather calm given everything's falling apart around him and all his plans he's worked for the last several years are done. Or are they? They give each other the codes to unlock their bracelets, and they go their own way. Just John wanders off, and Scorpius kind of just stays there to go down the ship, maybe, or maybe not. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he shows back up. I wasn't sure if that was going to be it for, I'm gonna say Scorpius Prime, and we just have Harvey staying around so the actor can keep doing. But I don't know. Speaking of Harvey, I love the Go Fish game. That was one of my favorite scenes from this. Yeah.
Yeah,
I actually thought about opening up with a Go Fish reference, but I was like, that'd be tough to get. So
yeah.
You probably didn't have any of those with you.
No, yeah, in the middle of those fake World War II theme going on in his head, explosions and stuff, they're playing a card game. It's great. And
yeah, not just like poker or anything. It's Go Fish.
Yeah. A game no respectable soldier would play, right? So, but yeah, you kind of figure Scorpius has to kind of hang around to maybe clash with Crais next season or something, or have her come back and be like, you caused this, that, whatever, something, So you have some more drama, peacekeeper drama next year.
See, I have no clue what happens in the next season, so it could be a totally new villain, and I wouldn't know it. So yeah, sure.
Why not? Or whatever. Yeah. And then our final scene of the episode on Moya, where everybody's talking about leaving. I guess because they think because Scorpius and the command carrier are done and then destroyed that they're not going to be hunted any longer. I wasn't quite following what they're thinking there. He didn't really pardon them. It was just amnesty while they were on board the ship. And Peacekeeper High Command certainly didn't pardon them because they captured them again when they left, and they probably Razor brought them back. So that didn't make any sense. And plus, now that they've destroyed an entire command carrier, and they have that on their records, I don't think they're going to get anywhere that they want to get to. But I guess we'll see how that goes next episode and maybe next season. I don't know.
Well, does the level of property damage increase the amount of money on your wanted poster? I mean, is that like, the big wanted dead or alive posters that are posted in like all the mail post offices and stuff around the territories? I think the benefit is though that they destroyed the carrier so fast that there's probably not been time for that to be communicated that they were the ones responsible, right? I mean, it could have just been a wormhole test accident.
Yeah, I guess if people, the people that did escape would probably say that it was Crais that blew up the ship. So okay, but yeah, I know there's like there's like theft and grand theft, which is like ways of stealing things. But is there property damage like levels? If so, yeah, this is off the scale.
Yeah, yeah. One metra mile, whatever it is, worth of peacekeeper property. Yeah, that's probably pretty serious.
Yeah.
I mean,
Although,
just the number of prowlers that were in there, well, at least
yeah.
before they all left. So.
Although for street cred, that jacks up their level of badassness to like a whole another level.
Oh yeah, they're gonna be like the baddest dudes in the Uncharted territories for sure. I'm with you on the, not quite sure the tone shift. I kind of mentioned that I thought this ended on one of the more somber notes, and I think part of it was because you've got a little bit of mourning for Crais, but you've got everybody talking about leaving all of a sudden. And it's like, oh, not like we're happy we pulled off a job, or everybody doing a toast to Crais in the around the table or something. No, we're all like planning where we're going to go next and sad and mournful about it. And I was like, that's out of nowhere.
Yeah,
It's
because they're still wanted, even though Dargo's got his info on the guy that killed his wife, and Rigel's got his information about Hungarian political stuff. But it's like he's not going to go back and become Dominar again because it's like, oh yeah, aren't you that escape criminal? So I'm not quite sure what they're thinking, but maybe they're just all happy, wonderful that they think everything's over when really they haven't thought it through yet. But I guess
I
we have
guess we'll
a whole
find
episode to
out.
find out. Yeah. And speaking of which, next time on the Farscape portion of our podcast, we'll be discussing the hopefully exciting, pulse pounding season 3 finale, episode 22, Dog with Two Bones, which sounds like a more happy title than what we've had before. But I guess playing our usual guessing game of what's that mean? And again, not a clue. I mean, it's the season finale, right? So, given the time period of this show and even today's season finales, there has to be some kind of cliffhanger to get you to come back for next season. So, I mean, it sounds like a good thing from the title. Like a dog with two bones is probably happy it's got two, not one, right? But I figured maybe that's some kind of phrase or something I wasn't familiar with, so I looked it up, and it's a Roman poem version based off a Greek poem about a dog that has two bones and can't decide which one to eat, so it starves to death. So hey, uplifting, another uplifting. And it's also an Aesop fable about a dog carrying a bone and sees his reflection in the water and thinks the dog's like coming after his bone, so he growls at it, but he drops his bone in the water and loses it. And that's more of a story about being grateful for what you have and not being greedy. So I guess who's the greediest person we can think of on Moya? Rigel. But that's kind of a way to end a season. So maybe it's more of a ensemble story about the crew not being greedy, or maybe being happy with what they have and where they are because they're still alive. They're on Moya. They're all still a family. Hopefully they realize they can't all just leave and go home because they're still wanted here, and this is not going to really work out for them. So I don't know. We'll see. That's all I got.
That kind of signs up to my take, right? Because I think it comes down to what you treasure. Which treasures do you want? And I put air quotes around treasure, right? Because do they want their individual desires? The Dominar, the revenge on the guy who murdered your wife. All the kind of stuff that they started out being after, or is it about moving past that and staying together as a family because you found this family, right? What do you treasure? kind of goes back to that dog reflection parable. I think that's what I picture is, do you drop what you have to chase something you don't have, and what does that cost you?
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, that sounds good.
yeah, moralistic if completely inaccurate. So we'll find out.
Yeah. Or it could be they find a dog that has two bones. No.
Ah, dang, literal. Who'd have thought?
Yeah. 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 It's a big Jim Henson show. They probably got, dog Muppet they can bring. No, never mind.
Oh, now I want a Cerebus Muppet. That's what I want.
So a dog with six bones then? Is that how that works?
Ooh. Hmm.
Yeah, three heads. It's math. Yeah.
Math. I was
Yeah.
told there'd be no
Yeah.
math.
Shout out to 1970s Saturday Night Live, everybody. But we will find out. And also, as we mentioned at the top of the podcast, next time we will definitely for sure be doing more than just one episode of Farscape. We'll be discussing the final season, as much as we can anyway, of Star Wars The Bad Batch, Season 3, the final season, because the first three episodes dropped a couple days ago as we record this. And by the time we get to recording the next one, at least one or two more will be out by then. So look for that, 3 to 4 to 5 episodes of that, in addition to our usual Farscape stuff next time, and our Season 3 recap of Farscape,
Yeah,
which
because
we'll if you haven't seen that before or heard that before, it's kind of where we just kind of sum up the good and bad episodes of the season. We don't really go into like a season-long arc of describing everything that happened because then that would be a whole episode by itself. So just our kind of like hits and misses of Season 3.
yeah, and based on how the last season of the Bad Batch ended, it'll definitely be uplifting and you know definitely more positive than we were at the end of this episode. I'm sure it's all positivity, all uplifting. Yeah.
Yeah, because this would be end of all the clone stuff, and of course, as we saw in the first couple Star Wars films, the clones were just all over episodes 4 through 9. So, oh wait a minute,
Episode 4. You mean Star Wars?
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can go off on a tangent now, but I'm not going to. Okay, so maybe we'll save that for next time. So that is your homework for next time, and we'll see you then. Goodbye.
Bye.